of the surging New England Patriots. We had a feeling, Coach Marr, it was only a matter of time. It was literally only a matter of time for Coach Marr. But again, the Patriots are surging. They knocked off the Los Angeles Chargers. So we're going to take a look at that. We have a PHFL playoff update. We're going to tap into our power rankings. We have a couple of segments. Again, one of the segments is going to be what playoff matchup does the fans want to see? We're going to take a look at that. And again, we're going to take a look at the Atlanta Falcons. Breaking news last night in their win over the Washington Commanders. Starting quarterback Michael Penix is out 4 weeks with an abdominal injury. How is that going to impact the Falcons? I mean, again, this is, PHFL, you got to monitor your players as you head down into the second half, of the season. And again, but the PHFL, it's about stats. And, a lot of coaches are going to be literally just focused on stats. And that may have cost the Falcons a chance at a championship. But again, we'll get to that, and later on in our segment. So let's get into our PHFL highlights. This was, again, an awesome game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. So let's take you to fourth quarter, 4th and 4, ball at the 35-yard lines, 20-20. Bryce Young back to pass.
Now Young.
Pressure all day. Throws are out right now. Let me back this up.
Oh, look at this. It's intercepted.
Let me back this up. Okay, let me freeze it right here. It's 4th and 4, right? Ball at the 35-yard line, 20-20. Somebody please post the 4th down rules. Please post the 4th down rules. Coach Deasy, again, was in the booth, just literally screaming at Coach Chump, who tried to cheat Coach Woe. It's 4th and 4, ball at the 40. We have been playing tons of games. And all of a sudden, Coach Shump, again, we got him on the sideline saying, hey, I didn't know, we couldn't go for it on the 4th down. Bullshit. You knew what the 4th down rules was, and you tried to cheat Coach Woe out of his victory. However, again, let's take a look at it. He throws it again. Coach Woe played outstanding defense. Give me that. Again,
look at this. It's intercepted. Picked up by James Bradbury. And it's a pick 6. He brings it back to the house.
To 20 after.
Here's 2nd and 10.
Interception. So now it's 27-20. Carolina with the ball. It's only 49 seconds remaining in the game. Again, they're driving.
Young to
Bryce
throw.
Young backs up. Look at where Bryce Young is. He started, let me back up. He started his drop. So that's the 45. So let's see. 40, is that 43? 43-yard line. Again. And then you wonder why you throw an interception. Backs up.
Young to throw.
He's still backing up. What type of drop back is that? A 50-yard backup. If they want to complain about the quarterback accuracy when you dropping back 50 yards. Are you kidding me? Bryce Young being barreled down by Big Peter Baker. Interception.
And that's going to sabotage their comeback plans. It is intercepted. Picked up by James Bradbury.
Yay, touchdown.
And it's a pick 6. He brings it back to the house.
The game is over, right? Not so fast. Again, 34-20. Carolina with the Carolina's dropping back. Bryce Young with a baby. What was
he did it again, man. Like, Joe, it makes me stop and I can't. This is the second time.
You gotta make a play on that. You cannot. Let's go back again. He clicked on him. He definitely clicked on him, but you can't allow that touchdown. You got great coverage underneath. Again, we take a step back. He's just throwing it up, chucking it up. Again, clicked on. So look at it. Where's the click on? The click on. Was that the click on? I guess that was the click on. Because
he did it again, man. Like, Joe, it makes me stop and I can't. This is the second time.
Goes for the 2-point conversion, gets it 34-28. Now, Carolina got the onside kick. So now it's 34-28. Can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers blow literally one of the most amazing games that they played this season? Can they blow it? Bryce Young back to pass, out route, good pass, great pass. Okay, tick, 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 tick. How can you get a playoff in this time? Where's the speed clock? Again, it didn't work. Okay, he still has an opportunity. Bryce Young hikes the ball, gets it 34-28. He just completed a bomb, slides over, throws it deep, and it is
Give me that.
down.
Oh my God. All right, it don't matter.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers hold off and knock off the Carolina Panthers in the upset of the week, 34-28. Now, let's take you to New England and the New England Patriots against the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, you got to be kidding me. That was, let's back it up again. Okay, so Justin Herbert, again, definitely has a laser arm, okay? So he drops back to pass. He's looking. Of course, Coach Marr is going to be doing something, fugazi. But again, whip route, DB steps underneath of it, 28-21 interception. They were in field goal range. Again, they're still in the third quarter. So again, great defense by the Patriots. Now, this is a staple of Coach Marr. Again, tight formation, right? Everybody in the PHFL knows when Coach Marr comes out with an 0-1 trap, right? The next play is going to be some type of out route or corner route in the tight formation. And now, of course, Coach Mike got to win, right? This is his defense. This is what he calls. He mugs the gap. Again, you only can do that against maybe one or two users in the PHFL. Everybody knows what to do with this, especially in the tight formation. Coach Marr, again, blocks the running back. Stephon Diggs, kiss the corner, kiss the baby. Touchdown again. The Chargers, you're going to learn today, there's certain defenses, again, that you can't run against certain users, and the Patriots keep their wild card hopes alive, knocking off the Chargers. Now,
they'll try again here, second
Texas.
and 10.
The Cowboys, again, against the
Operating from the gun.
This before in the PHFL, 26-7, but take a look at number 60 on the left tackle.
They'll try again here, second and 10.
I don't know what the ref was looking at.
Operating from the gun. Here's Dak. A toss, left side, caught by his running back. And he'll fight forward for a...
Again, the Cowboys and the Eagles, again, the
A
Eagles
shotgun
are down.
snap now to Hurts.
Looking, Jalen Hurts scrambles up the middle. Great way to use his legs.
That was good for a dozen. And a very quick first down.
Hopes alive. They need this.
Now Hurts.
I don't know who this kid is.
He's going to air this one out.
Money. He was green.
That's hard. And he'll take it on in. Danny Gray. Touchdown, Eagles.
Touchdown. The Eagles now are down by 7.
This is first and 10.
The Eagles have the ball with an opportunity again to cut into the lead. Hurts again putting, just literally streaks on the field.
From the shotgun, it's Hurts.
Mama, there goes that.
He's going to let this one go deep.
Again is
That is brought in. And he will take this one in.
Fighting, scratching, and clawing.
He's going to be dragged down, but not until he's inside the 25.
They simply just don't have an answer for this guy defensively, Mike. I mean, regardless of who they put on him in man coverage or the type of zone coverage they try to capture him with, they simply can't slow him down, and we've already seen it here.
And this is going to be a touchdown.
The final score is your Dallas Cowboys 36, the Eagles 30 and a great back and forth affair. So again, the Bucks, great job with their upset victory over the Panthers, and the Chargers again fell victim to the surging New England Patriots. But as we talked about when we started the show, one of the things we mentioned was the injury to Michael Penix. And, the fans, they want to know, do the fans believe in Kirk Cousins? I mean, there was quiet in the booth. Coach BG, again, we caught up with him on the sidelines. He really didn't have a lot of words. One of the things he mentioned as he just gently and softly and meekly walked off of the field was, and I quote, "All this work for nothing." And again, it was tough to see the bravado just literally fly out of the normally uber confident Coach BG. But again, let's kind of look at, the tail of the tape with, Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. Again, when you look at it from these guys side by side, again, Michael Penix is, let's take a look at it. 85 overall to a 75 overall. The throwing power, again, Coach Woe, it was soft, Coach Woe. I'm the media. We don't give you no angles. We just give you the story, Coach. We just give you the story. So again, look at Michael Penix. Again, 94 throwing power versus 86. 93 deep versus 86. 88 short, 93, or 88 mid, 93 short, 82. I mean, again, just look at the throw under pressure. The play action, again, you got definitely Kirk Cousins has, some ability as far as the play action. However, will Kirk be able to get the ball out with that 86 throwing power? We're not sure. One of the things that the Falcons talked about was leaning on, it's a big drop off. You're right, Coach Woe. He talked about leaning on Bijan Robinson. But again, if you know that the threat is not there from a throwing perspective, how much really are you going to, again, focus on Pitts? Because again, there's only certain routes that he's probably going to feel comfortable with throwing with Kirk Cousins. So this, again, man, this is a big heavyweight loss in Vegas. Literally, again, they took note of it and definitely let their feelings known with our Super Bowl odds. Again, we think that this really is going to be, something that, again, this just going to derail, the Atlanta Falcons. And then also we talked about, again, kind of, what is the playoff matchups? What do the fans want to see? And a couple, there's plenty. You can just go through all different types of matchups. Right now, I think the matchup that we probably want to see the most is Coach Shump against Coach Deasy, the Lions and the Panthers. These two coaches, they just don't like each other. There's no Christmas gifts. There's no giving no flowers. There's no good game. There's, hey, how the kids are doing. It's none of that. These dudes just don't like each other. And that makes for great football. That makes for great trash talk. Again, just a lot of hostility between these two coaches. We want to see this matchup. Again, I don't know whether or not the Panthers, again, in their first round matchup, and we'll get into that, if they're going to be able to get to the next round. But hopefully these two teams match up and they can just settle it. Now, I know we talked about this yesterday. Who do the Falcons want to see now that Penix has been hurt? And what Coach BG said in WATL, he said, we want the Minnesota Vikings. This was definitely a hostile game the last time these two teams played. It was 17-13. There was some rules violation, and they just went back and forth. I just don't see the Falcons. I just don't see them beating Coach Ballin and the Vikings without Penix. He's gonna try to run the ball. I get it. But if the rubber hits the road and Kirk has to throw a pass and throw, again, 20, 25 passes, is that going to be enough to be able to outscore the Vikings? I just don't know. That's going to be a tough hill to climb. And then again, we got the Jets and the Chiefs. Again, Coach Twitch has literally said on numerous occasions. This is the first team, really kind of one of the first great teams that we have. And again, we don't want to hear any nonsense, any noise. We're going to go out and we're just going to put up points. And the Chiefs, again, have an offense with Coach Twitch that they're just putting the ball up and down the field. They are in the top 5 in pretty much every statistical category. And again, with the Jets, you just know what Coach Schiff is going to do. In your face, press man. I mean, again, you're not going to be able to breathe. Sauce Gardner is going to take away one side of the field. I mean, they just have speed. Again, if they can get that pass rush, I mean, this will be a matchup again. What type of adjustments will Kansas City make to be able to combat that man-to-man, in-your-face, we're not going to let you breathe defense that the Jets implore? So, again, this should be a very interesting and strategic matchup between the Jets and the Chiefs if they were able to meet, which more than likely would be in the AFC title game if that happened. So, again, that's the matchups, that we are interested in seeing. Again, I think it would be – I think if I had to kind of put it in order, we just want to see Coach Deasy and Coach Young. Coach Deasy pretty much said, this is not even going to be a contest. It's not even going to be a game. We're going to stomp this dude out. Again, sometimes the styles make the fight. And the Buccaneers, again, they should have swept the Panthers. So we don't want to, again, take away from, the Buccaneers win. I think probably they're just a matchup problem for the Panthers because they really should have swept them twice. But again, can the Detroit employ that same defensive strategy that Tampa Bay did in order to get the victory over Carolina? And again, can Carolina avoid the costly turnovers and then slow down the explosive Detroit Lions offense? Again, that's what we want to see, as far as, playoff matchups are concerned. Now, let's get you over again to, arguably the most talked about segment in the PHFL, which is our PHFL Power Ranking, our Elite 8. Again, starting off with our number 1 and number 2 teams right now. Again, that hasn't changed from last week. It is your Green Bay Packers and your New York Football Jets. Again, it wouldn't be a surprise if both of those teams wound up in the PHFL Super Bowl facing off against one another. Again, right now, both of those teams, again, are right now I don't want to say head and shoulders, but they're definitely the teams right now that you need to look at and say, hey, they are the favorite in both the NFC and the AFC. Coming in at number 3 is your Kansas City Chiefs. Again, if the Jets don't make it, probably odds are the good money is going to be on the Chiefs again to come in and come out of the AFC. So again, Kansas City coming in at number 3 in your PHFL power rankings. Coming in at number 4 is your Atlanta Falcons. Again, we kept them there just based off of the victory. This wasn't like the Super Bowl odds. And again, we definitely want to give them respect. But again, they're without Penix, they are not the 4th best team in the PHFL. I mean, we just got to keep it a buck. They're not the 4th best team in the PHFL without Michael Penix. But again, they didn't lose. They did, dominate the Commanders. And again, the Falcons again are the number 4 team in the PHFL. Number 5 is your Detroit Lions. Again, this team from a talent perspective and an explosive perspective definitely is a team that you got to pay attention to. You got to, again, they could definitely make some noise in the playoffs, and they are a team right now that, again, do the upper echelon of the NFC want to see the Detroit Lions. We're not sure. Again, this is going to be a team that, if they the right matchup, and again, if they get that momentum going, they could definitely come out of the NFC if they can avoid the Green Bay Packers again, which may be, a challenge within itself. Coming in at number 6 is your Buffalo Bills. Again, a couple of losses, but again, you can't take away from what Josh Allen has done, thus far. So again, Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Coach Yales has definitely taken the next step, in his coaching acumen with the Bills. So again, had a lot of success, and we definitely want to look at, the Bills as a team right now that. And Coach Shump, again, we got the Twitter going crazy. Coach Shump say he cannot beat Coach Spot, and right now that's accurate because he has it. So again, he may hope that Coach Spot gets tripped up before those two guys would meet. But right now, that is that's a factual statement. He can't beat, Green Bay and Coach Spot. Coming in at number 7 in the PHFL power ranking is your Dallas Cowboys. So again, the Dallas Cowboys, that's another team that, again, they cause some matchup problems for sure. You definitely got to look at the Cowboys and definitely with CeeDee Lamb, with Dak Prescott, Micah, and some of the, just kind of some of the motion and the eye candy that Coach True implores in his scheme. You definitely have to make sure that you're on your keys. You definitely have to make sure that, again, you are, focused and where you need to be. Your eyes need to be, where they are, because again, he does a lot of motion, a lot of, deceptive, things that the Cowboys do. So again, that's definitely a team that you definitely going to have to pay attention to in the NFC. And, again, don't be surprised if the Cowboys make a run, in the NFC. Next up on your Power 5 and your Power 8 rather, and the 8th team is your Los Angeles Chargers. Again, they suffered a loss to the New England Patriots, the surging New England Patriots. So again, you definitely gotta, give kudos to, the Patriots on their victory. And I think this may be a chink in the Chargers' armor, and I think they are more than likely will be a one and done team. Again, you're kind of seeing some things from a defensive perspective that will definitely give you some pause as far as can this team, from a defensive perspective, are they solid enough on defense to be able to make the timely stops that are needed to win a PHFL championship? We're just not sold right now on the Chargers, but again, they are a top 8 team. They are a team right now that, again, you have to at least, game plan for. And Justin Herbert is Justin Herbert. He's one of the best quarterbacks, in the league. So again, that's a team that you really have to look at and say, hey, you know what? We really have to come with our A game. And coming in just outside of the PHFL Elite 8 is your Carolina Panthers. Again, styles make fights. You definitely have to say that styles absolutely makes fights, but you cannot, under any circumstance, if you deem yourself as an elite team, lose to a team that's 3-13. Regardless of the talent that's on the field, the morale on a 3-13 team has to be at least 40. And I may be even giving it more than what it is, but you have to figure out a way to win that football game against a team, again, that I don't want to say that they packed it up, because that'll be disrespectful to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization. But again, if you deem yourself as a elite contender in the NFC, you have to, or just period, in the PHFL, you have to find a way. We don't care whether or not it was by a field goal. We're not saying you're supposed to blow out, the Buccaneers, because again, they are uber talented. But again, you have to figure out a way to find that victory and to, come out, with a victory, there. And, a team right now that we have to really look at and say, wait a minute now, they've kind of, piqued our interest. They've kind of, we have to really, ask, the question, and that question is our 10th team, or the team, that we look at and say, hey, you know what, this is a very, interesting team, and the question is Coach Marr back? I mean, the New England Patriots, right now, they just knocked off the Chargers. Coach Marr is starting to kind of get his groove. They were, again, a team that started off extremely slow. They had a couple of, devastating and humiliating losses to the New York Jets. But right now, the Chargers are a team that you got to look at. The Patriots are a team that you got to look at. And we're not saying you got to hold your breath. We're not saying that, hey, listen, you know what? This is a team right now that could, they won their last, again, you have to look at this team. They won their last 4 games. They're on a winning streak. They could easily sneak into the playoffs. And if the Chargers sneak into the playoffs, let's see what the potential matchup would be if the Chargers were to sneak into the playoffs. And if they do, they would match up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Can Coach Marr outscore the Chiefs? Absolutely he can. Absolutely. Now, can he make enough plays on the defensive end of the defensive side of the football to slow down the Kansas City Chiefs? We're not 100% sure if they will have enough on the defensive end. Offensively, though, with Coach Marr's scheme, definitely he could give, Kansas City some headaches. Not saying that he's going to win. We're not saying that he's going to knock off the Chiefs. But would he pull up some points? Absolutely, he would put up some points. So again, New England is right there at 8-8. Denver is 8-8. Miami has a big game coming up against Coach FB. Again, if they lose, they're 8-8. Again, so you're talking about literally right now, everybody is chasing the Baltimore Ravens for that final spot. So again, if the playoffs ended today, you would have Kansas City against Baltimore, Jacksonville against Buffalo, and the Browns against the Chargers. In the NFC, again, it's still a logjam. You got the 9-6 Minnesota Vikings. Again, they have a huge game against the Packers. You have the Giants. Again, they're at 9-6. You have Philly at 9-6, and right now the Commanders, after their 77-30 loss, again, are on the, they probably their playoff hopes are pretty much over with. But again, looking at a 3-team race between Minnesota, the Giants, and Philly. So right now, if it ended today, you have the 14-2 Falcons against Minnesota. You have Dallas against Carolina, and then you have San Francisco against Detroit. I think right now we can probably all agree that the upset would be Minnesota over Atlanta because of the Michael Penix injury. Again, you just all good money is definitely going to go to Minnesota, in that ball game. Again, so we have to look at it and really as we get to our, Super Bowl odds and look at it and say, okay, what teams right now are the Super Bowl favorites? And right now we have our top 3, which is right now Green Bay are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl, followed by the New York Jets at 3-1, followed by the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, last week before the Penix injury, the Atlanta Falcons had the 4th best odds to win the Super Bowl. Now that belongs to your Detroit Lions at 10-1. again, we're not going to sleep on Detroit and, act like they don't have talent. Again, they lost Jahmyr Gibbs. He's out literally for the rest of the season with an injury. So that's definitely going to, again, I don't want to say hamper because they don't really run the ball that much, but he's another weapon in their passing attack that could have caused nightmare matchups. But again, you definitely got to give the Detroit Lions, again, the fourth best odds at 10-1. Coming in at number 5 is your Los Angeles Chargers. Again, that's some good odds last week, but just the loss against the Patriots, they're now dropped down to 75-1. Vegas just doesn't believe that the Chargers have enough right now, and not necessarily with intestinal fortitude. So this is really not about the Jimmies and the Joes with the Chargers. It's about the X's and the O's, and we just don't feel like with Vegas that they feel like that they have enough to be able to win 3 games and really 4 to win the PHFL championship. However, again, they do have the 5th best odds in the PHFL to win the Super Bowl. Coming in at number 6 is your Buffalo Bills at 150-1. Again, that loss to Detroit, and again, that's definitely an eye-opener. Again, you definitely got to, and I think they just suffered another loss. So the Bills right now, again, they're a team that we got to look at and question. Again, Coach Yale's had a great season, so we don't want to diminish, what he's done in Buffalo. But, however, we got to look at it. Again, they lost to Coach Marr, again, who is, the Patriots right now are a team I'm not sure that anybody in the NFC or the AFC rather wants to face. So again, but you still got to give Buffalo, credit as far as, again, having the 6th best odds in the PHFL. And finally, the last team is your Atlanta Falcons, and they are at 500-1. It'll be a miracle if they are able to even win their first game. It'll be a double miracle if they were to win the division round. It'll be a triple miracle if they were to win the conference championship. I believe Penix will be back by then. So if they were to get to that championship game, then of course, again, the odds will change. But we just, as Coach Woe said in the chat, it's a huge drop off from Penix and Kirk Cousins. A huge drop off. And we just don't see, we really just don't see the Atlanta Falcons that they have enough to be able to overcome the loss, of their great quarterback, again, who has been playing, excellent football, throughout the season. So again, that's the PHFL Super Bowl odds as we head down to the last week of the season. Again, some great, interesting matchups are upcoming. So again, that's the PHFL. And one of the things that Coach Deasy mentioned is that this may be the most unpredictable PHFL playoffs. PHFL playoffs. And again, it's mind-boggling, not even mind-boggling. It's crazy when you look at it and see a 14-2 team at 500-1 odds. But again, when you lose your franchise quarterback, when you lose the engine that drives, when you lose the straw that stirs the drink, I mean, that's literally what happened. But again, as Coach Deasy said, earlier, the coach of the Detroit Lions, this is arguably the most unpredictable playoffs in PHFL history. We're going to try to broadcast every game. We had Coach Shump, we had Coach Woe, we had the Coach BG and Coach Deasy in the chat. We were broadcasting. Again, we didn't put it on live on TV as I should have, but again, we're going to definitely broadcast as many playoff games as possible. We're going to try to really kind of slot our PHFL game of the week until maybe that 7 to 8 p.m. time slot. So, again, we can get more visibility. We got a lot of feedback coming from Neon and League Crawler when I send out our PHFL Weekly. They're giving us a lot of thumbs up. So, again, maybe we can just get more visibility to our, exciting games, and, never know what could come up, with some type of sponsorship for our league, because again, some of the gameplay that we exhibit is top notch. So again, this is your boy, the old ball coach, live from our studios right outside of beautiful Washington, D.C., where the temperature is 76 degrees with a light breeze and clear blue skies. This is your boy on Memorial Day weekend. Everybody get your crabs, get your seafood, get your fried fish, get your wings and your burgers and your dogs, man, and let's get some football in the midst of that as well. This is your boy signing out. Peace.